Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and we are on Bookmas Day 2. I don't have a lot of update for you guys. I edited Day 1 and got it going in the morning. Then I spent most of the afternoon wrapping the rest of the Christmas presents I had to wrap. And then I started working on my journal, so I didn't get a whole lot of reading done yesterday. But we are continuing our rollovers. My husband and I are reading I don't even know what book 5 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. So we continued that last night. It's so much fun. I just really love that series. And then I did read just like 10 pages of Wild Women in the Blues so I can continue to make progress. As far as updates on the other books that are specifically for this video, I did read Day 1 and I went ahead and already read Day 2 of A Heart for Christmas this morning. This is by Sophie Jomain. So this one, basically you have April, and when she was 16, she ended up needing a heart transplant. And so she's kind of had to be careful ever since. Her parents are divorced. They do not get along. And so for the first time in a while, she's spending Christmas with her dad. Her mother's very overly protective, and her dad's more like just carefree and doesn't really, I don't know that he doesn't realize the severity of her situation, but he doesn't really think of all the little small things that go along with it. So, like, in the part I just read, he wants to go out to dinner, and she has to be very careful with her diet, sort of thing, you know? And so she's like trying to find a way to convince him not to go, why not really acknowledging, and saying, like, hey, I can't eat that. So, it's just kind of like, total two opposites. I will say it's very YA as far as it's a YA book. So there's that, which is, I like YA books. Like, I read a lot of YA, but I think, like, and I don't know if it's because of YA romance. I don't read a lot of that. I read a lot of YA fantasy, but it's like almost like she's like dumbing down the writing a lot. And I'm like, give readers more credit than that. And so it feels very dumbed down, and the conversations are like very stilted and don't feel natural. Is kind of what I'm getting from it so far. It's only the first 2 days, so we kind of got the setup as far as her heart condition and such, her parents not getting along, and why she's visiting her dad for the first time. And then in the second day, she met the love interest, which is her best friend's brother. He showed up to get something from her father, who wasn't there, and so we got that interaction today. So yeah, so far it's fine. I think I'm gonna enjoy the story overall, but I just wish the writing wasn't so simplistic, I guess. But so far, there's not a lot to report on this one. So I have read the first 2 days of that. Then let's see here. My husband and I did read the first story in Mystery for Christmas, which is edited by Cynthia Mason. This one, I did not really like the first story. It was called A Christmas Bear by Herbert Rezenkow. I'm not sure if I said that right. And it says the stories in this collection are from the pages of Ellery Queen's Mystery Magazine and Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine. And then the first one, it was just very kind of depressing, which my husband and I were talking about. And it's like, we understand, like, that's the reality of life for some people. But when we're looking for a Christmas story, we want something, happy. Like, I don't mind heartfelt, but last year when we read the Christmas Treasury stories out there, a lot of them were really sad and depressing too. So this one, basically, you have a great grandmother and things happen to her daughter. And so her granddaughter, she raised a little bit, and now her granddaughter has a daughter out of wedlock. And so she's taking her great granddaughter to this auction at the firehouse, where they're trying to raise money for a little girl who needs a liver transplant. So again, like, we have, like, again, this one is kind of sad, and but it's It has a certain positivity to it. Anyway, so you have the heart transplant. Now we have a liver transplant. And so they're trying to raise money, and her granddaughter sees this bear, and it's not like a normal teddy bear. It's kind of like odd looking and such, but her granddaughter just falls in love with it and really, really wants it. And so at first you're going like, and she keeps like, rambling off on like past things about her family and whatnot. So it's a little bit rambling. You're thinking, this isn't a mystery. Like, what the heck's going on? Well, somebody ends up stealing the bear. She offers to buy it outright, and the guy's like, "No, I can't do that because if I did that for you, I'd have to change the rules for other people. I can't do that. So you're gonna have to bid on it like everybody else." And so the auction's like a few days later, and they go back, and the bear's missing. And so the mystery is who stole this bear. She's trying to figure it out. Very simplistic and such. But yeah, it was like I wanted something. I was expecting more mystery, not more like heartfelt, like sad, So we'll see what the other stories hold. We're not reading this again until tomorrow. This is only on odd days, but we did start it last night. And then today, of course, we haven't read it yet, but we'll be reading A Christmas Eve Story by Ginny Baird. And then yesterday's pick was Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I read 20 pages last night and read like another 25 this morning. I was wide awake at 5 a.m. So I read a few more this morning. And so far, like, we're introduced to both characters right away. And I really like it. Like, I love B.K. Borison's writing. And so you have, what's her name? Well, we got Nolan and Harriet. So Harriet's kind of alone. And I really like the narrative when it's Harriet's point of view because she's frustrated. And so like she works in an antique shop, and like in one situation there was a lady, and she's upset because her antique has a crack. And so she bought it for a present, and then there's a crack in it. She's like, it's broken, and Harriet's like, no, it's not. It still works. Like, it's just like cosmetic. It still works. Well, I want another one. And it's like, you can't get another one. This is unique. It's an antique. It's one of a kind. You can't get another one. I have different music boxes, but she specifically wanted this music box. And so the lady's just not getting it. And so she's like getting aggravated, and she's suppressing it. She suppresses a lot of her negative emotions. And so there's that. There was one thing that really struck a chord for me. And it says, I'm good at reading a room and setting my expectations accordingly. It's a skill I perfected while growing up in a cold household with cold parents. Sometimes it's best to make yourself as small as possible so you can go unnoticed, even if going unnoticed breaks your heart. And that really resonated with me because I did that a lot as a kid. Like, um, I mean, I had a pretty happy childhood, but my stepdad would kind of go off the handle, and I really would try to just make myself small. And even like in school and such, being autistic and having difficulty socializing, I would try to like just make myself small and not seen. Is kind of how it would go for me. So that really struck a chord for me. So we do get a background. She spent a lot of time with her aunt who used to own the antique shop. And her aunt and her mom didn't get along, and like her mom was very cold where her aunt was very warm. And then her and her sister, we don't really know a lot about her and her sister yet, but there's difficulty there as well. And she doesn't really get along with her family at all, so she's kind of alone. And then you have Nolan, who is the ghost of Christmas past, and that whole setup as far as like the ghosts and such is really fun. I like what she did with that, like it's like a whole little like business type thing. And so yeah, he's been doing this, and he's like, I think normally when I come to haunt people, they're bad people. Like, I think maybe there's a mistake here. And she's like, I'm a good person. Like, why are you haunting me? And so, and his boss is like very intimidating and such. So it's just so fun right now, even though we haven't really gotten into it. and I'm looking forward to continuing this. I thought about getting the audiobook since I did have a busy day yesterday and listening to the audiobook, but I really want to read this one physically, so I'm not going to do that. And that brings us to day 2. It is a hardcover, so I'm not sure which one, but I'm assuming maybe, possibly, it's the author Richard Paul Evans that I have a bunch of from, because his are hardcovers. So, but maybe not. I don't remember what other hardcovers I might have or not. So it might not be him, but we'll have to see. So let's see here. Again, I did it too well. And they're like tight in there and they don't want to come out. Okay. Oh, it's not Richard Paul Evans, but it's the other author I have multiple books by. Sorry. So it's the other author I have multiple books by, Mary Higgins Clark, and this is with her daughter, Carol Higgins Clark, and it's The Christmas Thief. And so I found um, one of hers or two or something like that Christmas ones at a thrift store, and I ended up getting more. And so yeah, I have several of hers. I can't remember how many. But this says Mary Higgins Clark, America's Queen of Suspense, and her daughter, best-selling mystery writer Carol Higgins Clark, have again joined forces to create a suspenseful and humorous holiday tale. Elvira Meehan, the lottery winner turned amateur sleuth, teams up with private investigator Reagan Riley to solve another mystery. In Deck the Halls, they rescued Reagan's kidnapped father. This time they get in the middle of a case involving a beautiful 80-foot blue spruce that has been chosen to spend the holidays as Rockefeller Center's famous Christmas tree. The folks who picked the tree don't have a clue that attached to one of its branches is a flash chock full of priceless diamonds that Packy Noonan, a scam artist just released from prison, had hidden there over 12 years ago. An excited Packy breaks his parole and heads to Stowe, Vermont to reclaim his loot. Once there, he's horrified to discover that his special tree will be heading to New York City the next morning. With a bumbling crew consisting of Jojo, Benny, and an unsuccessful poet Milo, he knows he has to act fast. What Packy does not know is that Elvira and Reagan are on a weekend trip to Stowe with Elvira's husband, Willie, Reagan's fiance, Jack, Reagan's parents, Luke and Nora, and Elvira's friend, Opal, and a lottery winner who lost all her winnings in Packy's scam. On Monday morning, when they're supposed to head home, they learn that the tree is missing. Packy Noonan may be in the vicinity, and Opal has disappeared. And so, yeah, we'll see what I think. Obviously, this is so I forgot when I ended up wrapping them because it had been a while. But yeah, I did get this one at the thrift store, and I bought what was it, Deck the Halls. Um, so I will be reading that one as well. I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal to read them out of order though, so I'm not that worried about that. But I'm excited to give this a go. I've only read one book by Mary Higgins Clark. I forget the title of it, but I did really enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to this. This is not that long. I think it's just at 204. So it's 204 pages. I did not finish my reading journal last night, so I do need to finish up with that. So I'm going to be working on that today. And then I did not get to the dishes yesterday, so I still need to do dishes. And I am going to cook dinner tonight. We're doing turkey enchiladas with the leftover turkey. So I'm going to be doing that tonight. So I probably won't get started on these until this evening. But I am looking forward to it. So the lineup for today, I already, of course, read my chapter for A Heart for Christmas. So that's already done. And so we have these 3 books. And the next couple are very thin. So I'm confident, even though I'm busy today, that I'll be able to catch up later in the week. So I'm not that worried. And so yeah, that's kind of the lineup. And then of course we'll read Dungeon Crawler Carl. I might skip Wild Women in the Blues tonight. It just depends on how much progress I make this evening. But this morning I'm gonna work on this video and then do my reading journal, finish it up, and then hopefully I can get a little bit of reading in before I cook dinner. We'll just have to see how it goes. But of course, I will be back tomorrow to let you guys know the progress and my thoughts. So I will see you tomorrow.